Stand by to fall in, Polk County. This is today's veteran. Hello and welcome. And on behalf of everyone at the Polk County Office of Veteran Services, thanks for joining us. I'm your host, Tim Kirkhart, and on this installment of today's Veteran, we talk with Mike Odell and Kelly Kowall with My Warriors Place about their efforts to serve veterans in their community. But we start off today's show with a look at local companies giving back to a local veteran. S&W Supply Incorporated, along with a number of local businesses, are giving away a kitchen to a veteran in need as part of the Salute 1513 project. Joining us in studio is Tim Williams, owner, S&W Supply Incorporated. Tim, welcome to the show.
Glad to be here.
Tell me a little bit about Southwest Supply and maybe how you got involved in what you're doing now.
Well, it's actually S&W Supply, and okay. It's actually me and another gentleman's whose last name is Snyder, and my name being last name Williams. That's how we came up with the name S&W. So that's how we started. We started 25 years ago. We both worked for a mobile home manufacturing company, and we both worked in the cabinet departments. He at a different location, and he moved into my neighborhood. I heard his routers blaring, and he heard mine, and so we went down there to see what each other was doing and became partners. And since then, we've come up with, that was S&W Cabinets in 1991, and then in 2000, we opened a wholesale retail store where we founded S&W Supply, and that's how we got started.
Okay, and tell us what you actually do. What is your business?
We actually we do design work. We do renovations. We do new construction kitchens and bathrooms and entertainment centers. So that's our primary focus. We also do tile and plumbing and electrical and stuff like that.
Okay, tell us about the program we're here to talk about. Tell us maybe how you got started in that. Was that recent or years ago?
Well, how it started was that our church has a program called Take It to the Streets, and they go out once or twice a year and serve the community. Usually it's focusing on the elderly or those in the poverty-stricken areas where we can go and kind of enhance their property or help them with a project. Ministries as well, like the Winter Haven Missions. So that's primarily their focus. Well, I wanted to take it a step farther because of me being in the business. I thought, man, I've got a core group of tradesmen and contacts to vending companies who could possibly help us in the event that we want to do something on a more large scale and focus on kitchens and bathrooms within the community where people may be in need. So we began to pray and ask God to help us to find these people out there in our community, and we've been doing that for the past 9 years. We started our first one in 2000, I guess it was 2007, 2008, after the hurricanes. And so we went in and renovated a person's kitchen who had been, the contractor had filed bankruptcy halfway through the project, and we came in and finished it up.
How has that changed over the years, or is that still your basis?
Well, that's still my basis. It's just we just pull in whoever would like to help. We've had Famous Tate's come on board and some other large companies, Hulbert Homes, come on board. And so we've gotten a pretty stout team now that we can go in there and take care of projects from a mobile home that's collapsing and completely rebuild and reconstruct a new home, taking the old mobile home away and putting in a brand new home, which we did 2 years ago.
And how did you try to get involved helping veterans?
Well, it was this last, I guess it was in February, the Ledger came out with a salute our veterans and wanted to know if we'd be interested in publishing a thank you letter to our veterans in this magazine. And so our team at the office gathered together and said, why don't we make that our mission this year, is to do a new kitchen for a veteran. And so that's how it started.
Okay. And where does it stand now? Have you done one for a veteran, or is that in the works?
Nope. This will be our first one for a veteran. And so we've published it on in the Ledger, and we've asked for the community to step up to the plate and find a veteran in their need in their community, and have asked the community to come help us find that person, because there's somebody who has slipped through the cracks, who has risked their life for our freedom, and we want to show our appreciation for that. They've sacrificed for us, so now let us sacrifice for them.
What procedure needs to be taken to find that veteran or their family?
We have certain criteria. We're looking for veterans that own their own home and have owned their own home for at least 2 or 3 years, are current on their mortgage payment, and have a homeowner's insurance, and live and reside in the home. We're also looking for someone who needs a kitchen, not somebody who wants one. We're looking for someone who is sacrificed for our country, who is in need of a kitchen. And I know there's 1 or 2 or a dozen here in Polk County. We just need to get the word out to find out who that person or persons are. Then we'll go through a process. We have a committee that's formed, and we will go and interview the top 3 people, and we'll go and take a look at their situation to see what we can do, and then we'll select one from that meeting.
What type of monetary value would this give to a home? If you do the complete renovation?
You're probably looking at somewhere between $30,000 and $35,000 is what we're guesstimating.
Okay. And the the veteran needs to live where?
Inside of Polk County.
Okay. Okay. Where exactly is your business located?
Winter Haven.
Winter Haven.
On Dundee Road.
What are some of the things that would you do to a kitchen? I mean, if it needed everything.
Well, typically we have to first determine if there's mold. And 90% of the projects that we do, the house is that bad. It's really a very bad situation. Typically there's mold. So if there is mold, then we have to do what we call a mold remediation. We have to remove all of anything that has harboring mold. And then after we do that, usually it's drywall, flooring, so forth, we just basically strip it down to the bare studs. When we're in there, we see if there's any electrical or plumbing issues that may need to be addressed, and that's why we have our plumber and our electrician. And if we're going to relocate appliances and so forth. So in that process, we strip it all down to the bare studs, make sure there's no leaks in the roof, and then begin the process of putting a new floor in, putting new cabinets in. And we're talking granite countertops. We're not talking the cheap stuff. We're talking, we really want to make this veteran feel like he's a king or she's a queen. And we have all of the necessary tools in place in order to do an entire renovation. I mean, we can go all the way down to the bare foundation if that's what we have to do. How
much time would be involved? I know it would depend on how extreme it is, but I mean...
2 years ago, we met a widow lady who had adopted a child. She was 64 when she adopted a child. Child turned 16, and she was in her 80s when we met her, and her entire home was infested with mold. The entire house. It had leaks, multiple leaks in the house, pots and pans out every time it rained. So that particular project, we completely demolished the house and rebuilt a new house. That took about 7 months. But typically on a kitchen remodel, it takes about 5 to 6 weeks.
Tell us how would a veteran be involved? How would he or she apply or get on the list?
Well, they'll call S&W Supply, or they can get in touch with us on Facebook. But the best way is to do it through S&W Supply. It's area code 863-324-4812. He'll talk to a girl named Brenda or Stephanie, and they'll send them the necessary information in order for them to be pre-qualified for that.
Okay. How long would all that take? I mean, if I was a needy veteran and I made application, how long, what would the procedure take?
On June 15th, we're going to make our final decision. And then we will, all the applications have to be turned in by June 15th. And then on July 4th, we make the announcement of who that veteran will be. And then the work will begin sometime between September and October. Really depends on how bad the situation is. We would like to have it done by Veterans Day, I think, which is November the 11th. But in the event that we can't meet that deadline, then our deadline would be Christmas, depending on how bad it is.
Okay. All right. Is there anything else you would like to tell us or get out to the audience about the program specifically for veterans?
Well, I would like to just say that we really need to look in our community and see these people who are hurting and pay close attention to them. All of us have resources just like this one that can make a difference in that person's life. And that's what I would like to say. Okay.
Well, listen, I want to thank you for coming on the show, and your ideas are marvelous, and we appreciate everything you want to do for veterans.
Well, I appreciate being here.
Thank you. For more information about the Salute 1513 project, you can look them up on the web at www.sandwsupply.com or give them a call at 863-324-4812. Dale Barnett was elected National Commander of the 2.2 million member American Legion on September 3, 2015 in Baltimore, Maryland, during the 97th National Convention of the nation's largest veterans organization. During a recent visit to Post 8 in Winter Haven, we caught up with the commander as he stopped by for lunch.
That's just who we are. That's what we do. We make a difference in our communities each and every day. Because see, there's value in membership in the American Legion. You know, I get the opportunity, as Dennis said, to testify before the joint session of the House and Senate Veterans Affairs Committee. And I talked about accountability. And when I see government waste, fraud, or abuse, I'm going to seek it out. I'm going to search it out, because we fight too hard to ensure that our veterans get the best health care possible. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to continue that fight each and every day. And when I hear people talk about the potential to privatize the VA and get rid of the VA, you better bet you the American Legion is dead set against that, because we do get quality health care through our VA health care system. There's some problems. Yes, sir, there is. There are some problems. And when we see those problems, we work as the American Legion in conjunction with our other veteran service organization to address those issues. And if someone has done wrong, we're going to call them out. And I have. We had a little case that I called upon the Veterans Affairs Committee to take action against 2 executives that forced moves that cost the American taxpayer over $400,000 through a relocation program that was immediately eliminated after we brought it to the attention of the Veterans Affairs Committee. We will fight for veterans each and every day because it's the right thing to do. Dewey and I, my aide, have had the opportunity to go to a lot of military bases. I'm very concerned about sequestration, about the budget, about our manpower levels. For you Navy people, the number of ships is at its lowest level since pre-World War II. I was with the Air Force. I was there at the maintenance facility for the C-5s. You know, we're putting parts, old parts, off of planes that we have taken out of service to repair our currently fleet of C-5s. We are. We don't have the parts distributors. I think that's putting us on a collision course. I was with the Coast Guard in Oregon, and even the state of Oregon petitioned the Department of Defense, no more cutbacks, because it was jeopardizing the security of the coastline of Oregon. And they said, enough's enough. You can't cut anymore. You can't cut anymore. Every one of the branches are suffering. I know a lot about the Army. I served in the Army. I know that our post-Vietnam strength of military was 786,000. When we had that peace dividend after Desert Shield, Desert Storm, our manpower was reduced to about 550,000. Right now we're running about 450,000. And they're talking about even cutting further. The missions haven't gone away. You can read the paper, watch television, and you know the world we live in today is not more secure than it was 5-10 years ago. If we can continue to cut our military and cut the budgeting and manpower for our military, we are putting our nation's national defense in peril. You need to speak up. We need to speak up as the American Legion, because if we don't speak up, who will? Our nation is calling right now for our leadership. This year my motto is duty, honor, country. 3 very simple words.
Welcome back to today's Veteran. I'm your host, Tim Kirkhart. Part of the mission of My Warrior's Place is to provide a safe refuge and bring about healing and hope to all veterans and military service members who have returned from the battlefield. My Warrior's Place and all those involved with My Warrior's Place understand that there are no words that can express how grateful we are to those who make the sacrifice by serving in the armed forces so that we have the opportunity to live in the land of the free. Joining us in studio is Kelly Kowall, founder of My Warrior's Place. Welcome.
Thank you.
And Mike Odell, board member. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, sir.
Well, let's get started. Kelly, tell us about your organization and how it got started.
Well, my organization got started due to the death of my son, who was killed in Afghanistan on September 20th, 2009. One of the things I was worried about as a mother was how he was going to be mentally and physically when he got back home. Unfortunately, he didn't get that opportunity. But for those that do return, My Warrior's Place is a refuge, and we offer several amazing programs to help them with healing and hope.
Good. Mike, tell us about some of the programs, or tell us about your involvement.
My involvement, because I do so much with veterans, Kelly had asked for me to be a board member to bring my wisdom of what goes on with our veterans in Hillsborough County and what we could do to help her with her program down there. And several of the organizations that I belong to are sponsors and do things down at My Warrior's Place with their mission to help our veterans
Okay.
and our active duty.
Okay. Tell us about some of the programs. Highlight them for us.
Well, I think just the retreat center in itself is a place where any veteran, any active duty can come. Gold Star family, meaning they've lost a loved one, or Blue Star, meaning they have somebody currently serving, or Silver Star, meaning they had somebody who was wounded, can come and find a safe haven. It's absolutely beautiful there. We have many that just come for several hours and they'll go fishing, or they'll use our canoes or kayaks. We have little roundabouts. We have little places along the property that they can just sit and read a book or bring their iPad or laptop and catch Wi-Fi. But it's so peaceful there, and being on the water, there's just something very healing about being on the water, and the sounds of the dog tags clicking together makes such a beautiful wind chime, and hearing the flags flapping in the wind. It's something that you can't describe in pictures.
Very serene.
Yeah,
it's
very
just,
serene.
So comforting being there. So
You said the dog tags. Tell us about that.
We actually hang dog tags above our Respect and Remember Tribute Memorial area, and it's a little gazebo over a fountain, and the dog tags, when the wind's blowing, it's just musical.
The facility itself, how did you come to gain that?
Well, we were very fortunate, and I think God works his miracles in a lot of different ways. And when we had the opportunity to buy the property, it was in very bad shape. And we had to do major renovations, and we also had to totally landscape the property. So it's been 4 years in the making come May, and we are now ready to break ground on a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, wheelchair accessible house. So currently we have several little 1-bedroom, 1-bath units and a couple efficiencies and some RVs, but we really needed a building that could house families of size, and then also various veterans groups or active duty groups that wanted to come and use the facility and be able to be housed under one roof. And then we also do our grief and peer mentoring program as well. So this will allow us to put everybody under one roof when we do our grief and peer mentoring programs.
What's the normal stay? I mean, how long do people stay?
Well, we have one little cottage that overlooks the water that we do limit to 4 weeks, but the other facilities are 90 days, and that can be extended for another 90 days and can be extended for another 90 days if needed. When we have people come in, I tell people, if you would be in a hotel for any reason, whether it's for vacation or whether it's due to a life circumstance, such as maybe your house is being tented for termites and you have to be out, you've had fire, flood damage, we've had active duty who have been transferred, and when they get there, base housing is full, and so while they're either waiting for base housing to become available or trying to find a place to rent, they're in a hotel, and it's very expensive for them. And so My Warrior's Place is a place they can come, feel like they've got family already there on the property, and it makes it very affordable for them.
Great. Tell us a little bit about the counseling or peer counseling that you do for the veterans.
Well, first of all, I want to say we don't do counseling. We do grief education.
Okay.
And what a lot of people don't realize is that there's more to grief than just the loss of a brother in arms. There's a lot of sacrifices that are made by our veterans and by our active duty, and these sacrifices all culminate into losses. And it's one of the reasons that when our active duty get out and become a veteran, they've actually gone through 5 major life losses all at the same time, and they don't even realize it. And it's one of the reasons that our suicide rate among veterans is so high right now, and that drugs and alcohol is so prevalent.
How do you see programs that you're involved in now different from what happened after the Vietnam War?
Well, it's because of our generation of veterans that the veterans of today and the active duty do not get treated the way we got treated. We would not stand for it again. So we make sure that we go out and we support them anytime we can, any way we can, and to welcome them home when they're coming off the planes and coming back.
So the patriotism didn't just happen. It's something that veterans like yourself and through Kelly's experience have really taken place.
Yes, you know, we as a nation know what a screw up it was on how the veterans got treated back in those days, and they've been trying to, I don't know what the words are, I guess make amends. Better late than never, I guess, but it's still a very deep wound for those of us that were in during that time, whether we were in combat or not, the way we were treated. So
Right.
we just don't ever want to see anybody ever get treated like that again.
That's great.
And it won't as long as we're alive.
Kelly, tell us about how is your program funded? How do you make ends meet?
Well, of course, we do charge to stay there, but it's very nominal amount of money. The amount that we charge is $45 a night or $225 for the week. And those monies that we receive do take care of our mortgage, which we have, and our utilities. The rest of the money is all raised through individuals and organizations, businesses, either donating product, supplies, or giving us a cash donation. And you know, sometimes it's difficult. Sometimes I worry about where, you know, are we going to make our bills this month? But somehow we always seem to make it through, even when we have crises of our own, such as having termites in one of the buildings or several of the buildings. Or
We just got a nice donation from somebody in Sun City Center that we didn't know, still don't know. They just sent us a check in the mail. But
yeah, that really helped us.
Couldn't have happened at a
get
better time.
Yeah, I broke down and started crying. So it's.
Well, tell us how a veteran or active duty member or whoever needs the services, how do they get involved and how do they find out?
Well, a lot of it is through word of mouth and going out. I do a lot of speaking engagements and going out and talking, and just like this show today, people will go to our website, then our Facebook page, and they will contact us via phone or email, and you know, we're always open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to take visitors and phone calls. And
we even have people that come in from the VFW and the American Legion where they've gone in there to seek help, and they've sent them down to my Warriors Place for us to try to help them.
yeah.
Okay. Well, listen, we're about out of time, so do you have any parting thoughts or messages you would like to tell our audience?
I think if there's any veteran out there or active duty who is needing a place to come, a safe refuge, even if it's just to unplug for a little bit, please consider coming out to my Warriors Place. All of our hard work and the sacrifices that those involved have made to make it what it is our payback is when we see people enjoying it.
Okay. Well, listen, thank you for coming today, Kelly. Your program is awesome.
Thank you.
Mike, thank you for coming also and being a part of this.
Thank you very much for having us.
For more information on My Warriors Place, you can give them a call at 813-321-0880 or look them up on the web at mywarriorsplace.org. That's going to do it for this edition of Today's Veteran. I want to thank our guests today, Kelly Kowall, Mike Odell, and Tim Williams. But most of all, I want to thank you for joining us. Remember, for help and information regarding claims, benefits, and services available to veterans and their families, call the Polk County Veteran Service Office at 863-534-5220 or log on to the Polk County website at polk-county.net. I'm your host, Tim Kirkhart, and we will see you next month.